What's up, guys? Shishi here. Welcome back to another episode of Scary Sundays. And this is a very special episode because it's the first Scary Sundays that is in partnership with Revolve Festival, which is a digital festival that my good friend Rubski and his crew over at Sweet Sounds Collective is putting on. So that's why I'm dropping this episode a little bit early. Scary Sunday on Thursday. And be sure to check out the whole festival this Saturday. You can check out Sweet Sounds Collective to find out more information. So, for those of you who are listening to this on Saturday, today's Scary Sunday episode is about fear. And specifically, it's about the feeling of resistance that we may come across when we're on the edge of doing something expansive, when we're on the verge of doing something that's completely in the unknown with regards to what we're used to, and how we can often talk ourselves out of these things out of fear, disguised as rationality, disguised as practicality, disguised as a desire to keep ourselves safe. So to illustrate this topic, I'm just going to share what I've been going through this week, because that's why this is on my mind. And I think, even if the situation is different, I think you guys will really relate to this and be able to apply it to situations in your life. And then I'll just share some things that I've been trying to implement to help me navigate this. So today's Thursday, and a lot of you guys will be listening to this on Saturday, so the thing that I'm scared about will have already happened because it's tomorrow. But tomorrow I'm going to be participating in a psychedelic ceremony. And it's probably going to be the last one that I do for a long time, because as healing and medicinal as psychedelics have been for me in my life, they've really taught me a lot, and they've really helped me to have experiences that have strengthened my meditation practice, have strengthened my commitment to my spiritual practice, because they've shown me ways of existing in modes of reality that I didn't think were possible, that I didn't think were accessible, at least not in this lifetime. So I've had a lot of great psychedelic experiences, but I've also come to a point where I feel like the best thing that I can do for my spiritual practice is to prioritize consistent practice of meditation and breath work and healing work and embodiment on a day-to-day basis, and just take one step up the mountain rather than continuing to take helicopter rides up to the top of the mountain and then getting dropped off a little bit further up than where I was when I took off on the helicopter, which is kind of how I think about psychedelics. They'll show you the top of the mountain, but they won't keep you there. You got to kind of put in that work for yourself. So all of that being said, my 32nd birthday is in a couple weeks, and I was presented with an opportunity here in Tulum in Mexico to work with bufo, which is a medicine that is native to the Sonoran Desert of Mexico. And for those of you who aren't familiar, bufo is essentially the strongest psychedelic, naturally occurring psychedelic substance that we know of, known to man. The active ingredients within the active compounds within the medicine are 5-MeO-DMT, which has been called the God molecule. It's been called the spirit molecule, and I don't want to get too much into a description of it, both because I've never done it. First, because I've never done it. Second, because that's not the point of this video. And third, because for my own process, I don't want to fill my head with too many ideas. But long story short, I will be partaking in a ceremony tomorrow morning. And like I said, this will be probably one of the last things, but this has been something that I have been called to exploring for a long time. It's a really integral part of the culture here in Mexico. And, I know a lot of people that have done this and have had really, really profound experiences of unity and oneness. And so all of that being said, This week has been, I've been working on all my stuff. I've been, paying attention to all these other things. And I got to be honest, it's been pretty nerve wracking because it's always nerve wracking to go into a psychedelic ceremony, especially when you're going with an intention. I don't really do um, any drugs, honestly, anymore, or even drink or smoke weed for that matter recreationally. I'm pretty much sober most of the time. But when you're going in with a healing intention and treating it like a medicine, it can be very nerve wracking, especially with something like bufo that I've heard is just, I've heard from so many people it's just so much stronger than anything else out there. Um, and I've had a lot of experiences, but I'm definitely having a lot of nerves about it and a lot of excitement as well. And I've been paying attention to my emotional state and my thought process this week about how much of these nerves and how much of these voices in my head are just my fear trying to get me to back down from an experience that is undoubtedly going to expand me. It's going to be super expansive, regardless. And the experience lasts for like 15 minutes. So in human linear time, it's not that long, but who's to say how long it feels when you're actually in it? Um, how much of it is that, and how much of it is, oh no, maybe this is actually maybe I shouldn't do this. Like maybe this is a real sign that I shouldn't do this if I'm feeling all this resistance. And that's kind of what this video is about, using this bufo as an example. But how can we tell the difference, right, between when we're feeling resistance to something? How do we know when that's truly our intuition telling us that it's not the right thing for us? And how do we know when that resistance is a sign that we should do that thing because we're a little nervous because it's outside of our comfort zone, which means it's going to expand us? And I've really been trying to tune into that and feel into using this week. And now I'm on the edge of it. It's tomorrow morning, this experience, to figure out how can I tell the difference. And I think what I've sort of landed on, what I'm trying to practice, and what I would like to offer you guys as a possible, solution, or way of navigating this, is really feeling into, is the fear coming from my mind, or is it coming from my body? And I want to be very careful when I talk about this because, it is possible that for people who have maybe had a lot of trauma around certain things or certain situations, their body will actually tense up in a situation that might actually ultimately be something that would expand them. And I think it's important to pay attention to that and realize that, if your body is tensing up with a situation, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's not the right situation for you. I think it just means that that situation must be approached with a lot of care and delicacy and intention. But oftentimes, if that's not the case, I think paying attention to your body is actually really the best way to discern this difference between, is the fear something that is happening because this is genuinely not good for me, or because it's something that I'm just, my egoic self is threatened by. And I feel like typically when it's the latter, unless there is some sort of trauma or something that is inherently related to the body, which does happen a lot, your body is generally not going to be that activated. At least I've found. Like if I'm paying attention to my experience right now, I feel like my mind is the one that's making me try to talk me out of this, not my body. Like my body's just like, okay, yeah, we're here for this. And there's almost actually, like, if I really pay attention, I take the labels out of the sensations out of the equation. It's almost more like an excitement, honestly. It's like kind of this butterflies in my stomach feeling. And the feeling of excitement physiologically is essentially the same as the feeling of fear. So really it's the mind's label that makes the difference. My mind, on the other hand, is telling me all kinds of shit about how this is not the right time. I shouldn't do it. Like, I'm not ready. I haven't been meditating, all these things. And I think that's how I know that it's not that like I'm like destined to do this right now, but that's just how I know, like, it's safe. It's safe to go have this experience. It's safe to go follow this calling. Um, and I know that I'm going to go into it with a really strong, solid, earnest, humble intention to experience more spiritual growth, more expansion, more love, and get more clarity about how I can be most of service in this lifetime to the people around me, to the world around me. And I'm going to go in with a lot of respect for the medicine. So I just want to share that little piece of insight that I've been kind of, touching on this week with you guys. How can we tell when our fear or apprehension to do something or to not do something is coming from a place of survival, meaning, fear of the unknown? And how can we tell when it's actually like we should listen to that? We should listen to that and trust that intuition, and it's coming from a place of genuinely caring and love for ourselves. And I think the body is what we need to start to pay attention to more than the mind. So thank you guys so much for checking this out. For those of you who are just getting to know me, it's a pleasure to get to know you. And I do these Scary Sundays every week. And thank you, Rubski and Sweet Sounds, for having me on the show. Again, this will air on Saturday, so this will be after my ceremony. So I'm really excited to do my next Scary Sundays next week on Sunday and share with you guys how I'm feeling. That'll be about a week later from the experience. So sending lots of love. Catch you guys soon. Peace.